one interesting day is I remember we were going to Busia, and we were either using Mbukinya or Eldoret Express or one of those buses. But I remember sitting on my dad's lap, and we were having a conversation between my dad, the driver, and myself. And they had promised that I would drive the bus at some point. But I slept and I woke up not very happy because we had already reached our destination, but they told me it's because I had already slept. Interesting enough, from that particular day to date, I love, whenever I'm traveling in a bus, I love sitting in front and just looking at the windscreen. So it's a very interesting memory that always comes to mind, and another memory that is tied to how one of the things that my dad always said. My dad always used the term emboko. Now this was very interesting because in the spaces that I have seen my dad being, I have seen him being given very high respect by very high people. And one thing I noticed is that the energy that my father would use to associate or to just have a conversation with a watchman or a waiter is the same energy he would use when he's meeting an MP or a CEO. And he has a way of treating everyone and making everyone feel like they belong. And that term emboko, he usually used it to, it's a term of endearment. It's like it's an equivalent of bazoo, mkubwa, or gadi top. Yeah, it's an equivalent of that. So in some it actually means like a buffalo. It's actually a buffalo or a rhino, one strong creature. So it's a phrase that he uses to date in reference to the people that he loves and he holds dear. And that has taught me one valuable lesson when it comes to understanding respect, that as much as many people would want respect and as much as men we love respect, it is something that is earned, and it's something that is nurtured, and it's something that it can actually be reciprocated. And that was very big. How my dad always, I've never had my dad say I love you. Actually, the first time that happened, I actually made a big deal out of it because that's my brother's way. Did dad just tell us? I think that was actually last year. Funny enough, did dad just say that he actually loves us? And that was the first time I ever had it, and it was really funny. But generally, I always knew my dad would come through. One incident is I was being expelled from my first high school, and I was clearly in the wrong. I was clearly in the wrong. Oh gosh, I was in the wrong. But you would have seen how my dad played advocate for me in that board meeting. I remember he was seated and I was standing on his right, and the board members had formed a letter C kind of sitting shape. I was bad, man. They grilled my dad, but he stuck to his guns and stuck to my side and said, "Oh, I'm a good boy. He's never had incidences with me." He lied for me. He lied. He had many incidences with me, but you know, he stuck with me, man. Say ride or die. That's one thing I've never forgotten, and I remember it's one of the things that made me actually become more disciplined in my next high school. I was expelled for sure. I was expelled, but then after joining the next high school, I was like, I vowed never to have my father in that situation ever again. I think it was very demeaning, you know. If I was to give my father a superpower, what would it be? Honestly speaking, I wouldn't give him any superpower right now. If I was to add anything to anything he has, he would either be a demigod or something like that, up there with Zeus and Poseidon and Hercules. You know, we call him Odipo Prime because he's super enough. That man is just absolutely amazing. And if I had a superpower, it would be to be 10x like my dad. To just be 10x. Everything that he is, just be 10x, you know, because of who he is as a person, who he is just generally. in all aspects of life you can think of, to just be 10x more, because I'm sure that's one thing that will really please him. And it's a privilege that I actually have, and I know that not many people can actually say, I want to be 10x like my dad. But for me, it's something that I can actually say very proudly and mean it. Yeah.